Hey everybody, it's Mark Schultz here again, and with DigitalAircraft, and we are here again at the Aircraft IT conference in London. And it's a little bit of a quieter time right now than the last one we just did because there's some sessions that are going on right now, but we're still in the hall where all the vendors are. And I wanted to introduce someone to you because we have a very interesting conversation we're going to have about some advanced training that's occurring and research that's occurring around digital and around aviation in the industry. So I'd like to just for a moment here introduce Fan. And am I pronouncing it correctly, Fan?
Fan is perfect.
Okay, perfect. All right. And Fan, could you please tell people who you are and what do you do?
Well, my name is Fan. I'm one of the lecturers in Cranfield University here in the UK.
And what makes Cranfield University unique with respect to aviation?
Well, we are probably not well known outside of the domain. We are a Second World War Air Force base that was converted to be the UK Development and Research Centre for Aeronautical Engineering and Operations. So we have our own airport, we have our one-way, we have our fleet of aircraft, and they make it a fun place to be.
Yeah, it's quite interesting. So I saw you have a number of different facilities there, and so just at a real summary level, you have an airfield there, and you have some other, like I saw 2 or 3 other major facilities. What's there at the facility?
Well, we can do the airfield. Of course, then we'll have to manage the airspace. We are the first UK location to have virtual control tower. So it's a mass-mounted setup sensor. Our controller no longer sits in the glass box. They're in a panoramic room that they can see the airspace better than any other. In the UK, London City Airport is the second airport to do that. So arguably, with the right commercial arrangement, we can manage London City Airport's airspace for them too. We have the full capability to do design and manufacture. Recently, people may have heard about the hydrogen fuel cell aircraft. The first aircraft was actually converted in Cranfield and test flights from Cranfield. So there's a lot of things going on.
Very interesting. So, alternative fuels, hydrogen, you have a fully digital air traffic control tower where people are not in the air traffic control tower in the airfield, such interesting things. But hey, let's switch over for a minute. And because I have such expertise here, I wanted to ask you this question. What kind of problems are you seeing in the industry today that revolve around digital? What kind of problems are people having that might be able to be solved with digital?
I'll do a little bit of a background explanation first. So I come from a manufacturing background. So you may know that in manufacturing, over the last 40 years, we've been putting lean concepts in. We make manufacturing more efficient, more productive, and that's the way that we have been. I started to have opportunity to work with the maintenance side of the aviation industry. And part of the things that surprised me is that if you use a manufacturing context of lean and what is value-added activity, aviation maintenance is probably not sitting very high on that. So there's a lot of things that I can see that we can use concepts we developed in manufacturing that become easy cherries to pick. And digital is one part. So if we work in a factory, we expect the parts and the instruction to go to the workforce. In maintenance, you have the engineer holding a piece of paper or the parts walking up and down a lot of the time. The walking time, reading document time, in a strict lean sense, they're not adding value. So doing research, creating methods, procedure that can translate more of those non-value adding activity into the value adding become part of our passion. And that's part of our digital aviation initiative.
Okay, so basically what you're doing is you're trying to take the things that we've learned from manufacturing over the years and incorporate them into other areas of aviation like MRO, for example, the bottom line, really.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I think I've done some finger in the air research in base maintenance. In terms of personnel productivity, I think a very well-run organization probably will have at most 40 to 60% of their man-hour time doing things on the aircraft. And so what happened to the rest of the time? Can we not do something to bring more? Not necessarily to work the people harder, but to work them smarter.
Very good, very good. So with those kind of challenges that we have, first of all, we know that in the industry today that we have tremendous challenges with labor. We have one day it seems as though we're short labor, and the next day it seems as though we have too much. And so I think agility and having the ability to be able to have maximum efficiency and to be able to respond to the demands and needs is really important, right? And so let's talk for a few minutes about, what you're really doing in order to be able to respond to, those kind of challenges that exist. So by doing that, I wanted to maybe go into asking is at Cranfield University, you've created a program where you're focusing on digital, right? Can you just talk to us a little bit about that program?
Okay, right. Thank you, Mark. That's a really important point because this labor shortage is at the working level, but we also see a significant shortage of people that can actually bring in technology as innovation manager or bring in the technology in transforming ways of work, change manager. Not necessarily a new job, but perhaps do the existing job in a better way. So in Cranfield, we have created a new MSc course in aviation digital technology management. And that's something that we're launching in October. There's a lot of things that we want to do, but a key part is that we want to be able to help those who are in aviation to have some of this mindset change that they can be more effective, but also helping a lot of people who have those digital innovation, but not necessarily understanding aviation to come into the aviation industry and become some of these innovation technology leaders. But fundamentally, what we want to make sure is that when we have the right people together, we are doing things with the right business case, sustainable, and being able to justify everything in the bottom line. So sometimes we go to conference, there's a lot of nice suggestions, but they're not practical. Or by the time you get to it, maybe something else had happened. So what we want to do in the course and the associated research is to try to become this source of knowledge and help the industry to find the right thing to do it right, and then give us a more profitable, sustainable industry.
Okay. So aviation digital technology management, that's the name of the course. Okay.
Absolutely.
Now, that's very interesting to me because I've been involved in aviation and digital really my entire career for almost 40 years, right? And I also went to a master's degree program to learn business. And one of the things that we did in the master's degree program was we learned how to put better frameworks around situations to be able to evaluate them to create maybe optimum outcomes, all right? And so if I hear what you're saying is that you're saying let's apply those business techniques and those management frameworks around aviation and digital in order to be able to create more predictable and effective outcomes, is what I really hear you saying, right?
Absolutely. But then at the same time, we need to recognize that within the industry, there's a long spread of the people who may be upfront in the thinking and technology and people who are, because of the situation they're in the business sector, need to catch up. So our course is designed so that we teach the student one part, but we have about 60% of the time and the course for the students to carry out projects that can match back into the industry need. So our output is actually a range of people with the correct mindset, but can fit into a variety of situation and context, depending on their need, depending on the needs of industry.
Interesting. So if someone were looking at being involved in this program, can you give us maybe 3 key points of what this program might involve or what they might be able to get from participating in such a program?
Absolutely. Part of getting involved, I think, is to be able to work with the industrial reality. So I have a very strong industrial advisory panel, including colleagues from Etihad, from EasyJet, from Boeing, STS Aviation, and other related companies in the industry. So the way we structure the curriculum and the industrial exposure are in context real. So it's not a theoretical study. So putting that in context also correlate to within Cranfield, we have our 737 ground demonstrator and the range of digital laboratory, so they can get the hands-on technology, what is available, what is coming, and we have a big bunch of really good colleagues who have that industrial experience. A little bit like consultancy type experience that can match the technology to the business needs. So it will be a great thing for people who want to not just enter into aviation, but hopefully we want to bring people to make a change to the aviation sector.
So it's really good that you have that hands-on, experience directly with industry. That's always really important because many times people associate, universities, are speaking more of a theoretical standpoint than a really practical standpoint. But I see that you have, physical facilities, you have airports, you have acting, towers, you have businesses you're working with. So this isn't a theoretical, environment. This is a business environment with learning and knowledge behind it, as well as practical, bringing in a practical. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think Cranfield have this ethos on application. So we want to see things being used.
Yeah, very good. Now, if we were to look at the key points of such a program, what are the key things that you're trying to communicate to people, in the program? So, what is the main point that you're trying to be able to train people on or educate people on?
Well, there are multiple components that need to fit together. So that's one bit is understanding the aviation industry in its totality. So the colleagues who work in the industry that may be very much focusing on their part. What we want to bring is a complete ecosystem of the aviation industry, from manufacturer to operator to leasing to support, and the range of organization involved. So using one example that will be the case study for one of the module that we're running is if somebody is going to start a new company flying urban air taxi on top of London, what are the things that they need to do? What are the people they need to talk to? That gives all-rounded industry sense to us is important. And the next part is knowing enough about the possibility of digital technology, from drones, robots, augmented reality, inspection device, to also the informatics side. So hopefully, with our IT people are doing what they have promised me, we'll be having AMOS as a demonstration system running in a few weeks' time. So it's getting in touch with the informatics, because from there we can use AI, machine learning, and those more accelerated decision-making systems.
Very good.
And then the third bit is then we need to have the industry understanding, technology understanding, bring together to be a realistic business transformation program that is sustainable, making a difference.
Sounds really comprehensive. I mean, it's really very interesting. I like just the idea how you're putting a framework around it to do a much better, thorough evaluation. There's so many people that are involved in, looking at IT technology and how do they apply it in aviation. And so many people say, where do I start? All right. And I just think that what you're doing right now really gives people a good idea of not just a starting point, but a process that can help carry them all the way through to the end. So I think the training sounds extremely valuable. Hey, let me ask you this. What are you most excited about at this time in the industry?
Oh, this is a wonderful time for change, because, okay, the pandemic wasn't a good thing, but it does cause a lot of people to rethink how things are done, which shake up some of the established thinking over the last 30, 40 years. So in terms of the technology opportunity that we can bring in, it's a great time. But don't just think about the current air systems as we know it. We're on the edge of seeing the urban air mobility, drones, electric, hydrogen, all these new things are happening. So when we can embed these concepts into the design of the future air system right at the beginning, it is much, much more exciting than sometimes we're playing catch up on trying to make existing ways of working a little bit better.
It's a good time. I'm very excited about it as well, because I believe that the adoptance of digital right now by the industry and by the entire world has accelerated dramatically. So what a better time for you to have this kind of a program. If somebody wants to get involved in this program, what's the best way for them to get in touch with you?
Well, we have a course leaflet. So there's the website link and the URL. I think Mark is going to help to put the link in the chat after the event. But you can always find the program in the Cranfield University website. If you want to look for me, my name is Fan. You can go through the staff list. I'm afraid I don't have something that I can flash in front of you to link.
What we'll do is we'll put the URL in the comments after we finish the video. But it's www.cranfield.ac.uk./ADTM. But I will put that into the comments, and you can go directly there if you'd like to learn more information. You're going to look for fun. All right.
Absolutely.
Yes. Thank you so much. It's really very interesting. I am so excited about digital in our industry. I have been for my entire career, and it's just very refreshing to see programs, university level kind of programs, coming together and providing people with new opportunities for training and education in this space. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it, and I wish you the very best.
Thank you very much, Mark. Thank you for the conversation.
We have more interviews coming up today and tomorrow, and so stand by, and I hope to be able to bring you more interesting information about what's happening in the industry. Thanks for joining me today. Bye.
Bye-bye.